So going back to this week, our new table that will be pushed out soon. We do have our other table that people are used to on our website. But like I said, we have 4 major games this week that we are looking at cautious weather, all from the same system. We have Minnesota at Green Bay, which is going to be just a great game anyway for the rivalry. Another rivalry, Patriots at Bills, which is so dynamic this year with a lot of moving parts because we're seeing a completely different Patriots team come to town. And then we have the Raiders at Browns. And then we're finishing off our weather discussion with Saints at the Windy City, Chicago at the Bears. So, Sean, why don't you talk us through what we're seeing from this Great Lakes front system?
Yeah, so that's going to be the big story in town this week, and that's really going to impact all games in and around the Great Lakes region. So we're talking the Packers game, the Bears game, the Browns game, and also at Buffalo as well. And so what we're seeing is a system that's over the Pacific Northwest, and that's going to trek to the east. Along southern Canada, and this is going to be a fairly dry system, so we're not going to have to worry too much about precipitation with this one. But what we are going to have set up is a really strong pressure gradient. I feel like recently we've been talking a lot about pressure gradients, and the reason for this is that we have a really strong high pressure that's going to be setting up lee of the Rockies. And then we have this area of low pressure that's going to be over the Great Lakes. So you can see what Colin's bringing up now, that area north of Montana. That's going to be the system that we're going to be tracking. And you can already see some of the winds starting to build in and around that system with the oranges, the reds. Those are some higher winds. And now that's going to move to the east come game time on Saturday afternoon. And winds are really going to strengthen. You can see this right now. We are in Saturday afternoon. If we keep going a few more time steps. Yeah. And then just maybe a few more here.
18Z Sunday is game time.
18Z, yeah. So here we go. You could see all the yellows and oranges and reds in and around the Great Lakes region. Look at all of those orange circles. Those are our stadium locations. So you could see that we have orange for Green Bay, for Chicago, for Cleveland, for also Buffalo. So like I mentioned, we're not as worried about precipitation with this, but because of the high winds, there are concerns. We're looking at 20 mile an hour plus, even greater for some of these games. Now, with that being said, we're also expecting a potential cold front to move past Western New York for the Buffalo game. So we may see some precipitation for that one, but we'll expand on that when we get to these individual games.
And you can see our notable mention game down there in Cincinnati, southwestern Ohio, there, right on the border of those yellow contours or shading, which is, winds are going to be, there's going to be some winds there out of the west, but will not be as strong as winds as some of the stadiums near the Great Lakes. And that's why our algorithm is highlighting that green circle there, showing less or no impacts rather than compared to the orange circles, which are essentially saying, hey, pay attention to these games. There's a chance that weather impacts